So I'm still a bit a ways, another hour or two of sailing before I get to the shoreline of the big island of Hawaii, but I thought actually this would be a good time to go over some navigational things, and I'll show you what I mean, because looking at the map and by the way, if you look at the map, you see where it charted my history from the logbook, and I got to this point here and I started messing about in the on the boat trying to set anchor, and all of a sudden when I was trying to set anchor, it popped me over to here, like in a snap, and so I had to teleport, and I teleported. I wasn't sure where I was, so I teleported back over to here, at a little further south than I was. But since then, I've been sailing from this point. At that point it was late in the evening, and that's why I anchored, and I anchored there, and then and the next day in real life, and then the next day in my virtual life on the boat, I waited till next morning at 7:30 in the morning and took off from this point and came and sailed out this way, and then I turned to go here, and I turned this way at a heading of 122. My direction is to get to Hanakau Bay. Not sure I pronounced that right, but I want to get where I want to be is right here, and I want to show you something. So let me come out, and if we go to auto navigation, I got my heading set to 122. So with that in mind, and let's just take a quick look at the boat, take a walk around. We're going about, sometimes we're getting up to 5 knots. Got all the sails out. Got the wind indicators going, the telltales are flying just good, correctly, and the main, it's funny, you can move the main around and it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but what I'm trying to do is make sure that the top sail doesn't flop on you. So once you get the main, once the top sail starts flopping, you adjust the main until it stiffens out, and it's usually the good position for where the main should be to get you a good wind. The good news is I'm not having to tack. We got good wind at this point off the, not right off the I was going to say beam. Beam is directly 90 degrees off, but I got it off the starboard side, and at a good 40 some degrees, I think. So it's in a good position, so I could really without turning into the wind, I have plenty of room to adjust my direction, and that's really what I want to talk about. If we have good wind where we don't have to worry about that dead space where the wind's directly coming at you, then you can make a navigational heading that makes sense. And so to do that, we want to look at where we want to go, and that's this bay here. So we're going to grab our navigational tool and pull it to this bay, and it says it's 117. I don't know if it's, depending on where you go. Right now we're heading at 133. This is interesting because I just showed you I have the auto navigation where the heading is going at 122. So why is the boat actually center over ground heading 133? Well, you see a couple vectors here. You see the the true wind direction, this vector here, the red one, and then you see this CUD, that's the current direction. So the current direction, that's another vector. So we have a we have a smaller vector from the CUD, the current, pushing the boat. So even though we're going at a heading of 122, the current is pushing the boat south, or actually kind of southwest. So we have to make up for so if I look at the center over ground, it's at 131, even though my heading is at 122. That's about 9 degrees difference. So if I want to go to this point here at, let's say, 118, and I want to have a 8 to 9 degree difference in heading to adjust for the vector of current, where, you know, current's pushing me southwest, I'll need to set my heading to about a 99 to 100. Let's do that and see how that happens. And then we'll have to come back. So what I'll do is keep this, put that down. And the good news is that direction is not going to take me into the wind. We'll pull that up again. See, if this is the wind direction, make an adjustment well, got to click on the navigation tool. Making an adjustment this way is going to put the wind off my beam instead of off my forward bow, my starboard. And with that in mind, it's only going to be better for me. So, or just as good as it is now. Actually, it's probably going to end up being better. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is a little bit a short, easy lesson on navigating, you know. So in this case, instead of using the tiller to turn the boat, we're going to go to auto navigation and set our auto navigation to 100 or 99. Let's do 99, do 9 points, and that will give us a heading of 99, and we'll drift southwest a little bit because of the current, the CUD, and with those two vectors combined, that should put us at the heading of, what do they say, 118 or so. That would get us right into that bay. Oop. Pushed the wrong button on the Xbox controller. Yeah, that would give us, that should, well, see, center over ground actually is showing it going a little further north. But as time goes on, we should start to drift. And then I guess it's a calculation of how much time it takes us to do these last 4 nautical miles. So, for the sake of argument, you know, we won't sit here for an hour waiting for that. We'll come back and use the magic of editing to come back and take care of that. But, you know, just for the sake of taking a look at the Big Island, Hawaii up ahead. Looking forward to getting there and completing my adventure. Whoop. I still find that, you know how I'm flying around here, that there was an adjustment made in the last update that has got the third view, I would say the third person view to be quite erratic. So or maybe I just have to get accustomed to using it, but yeah, that seems to be better. Just got to be careful on the controller. Whoop. Yep, and just when I think I got it, it goes erratic on me. So not a problem when you're in first person view when you're on the boat. So all looking good, and we'll come back as we get closer to shore and see how that goes. Just for our personal information, let's pull up our clock. And it is 9:30 local time. So I imagine it's going to be 10. It's going to be near 11 or 12 by the time I get to shore. If I'm only heading right now, I'm heading at three knots. Actually, because I made a heading adjustment, I probably need to make adjustment to the sails to get better wind. So I'll go ahead and do that. Turn the clock off. All right, good. Yeah, so they're not quite right here on the J2. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, you can see a little movement on the speed thing, speedometer. I don't know if that's called the speedometer, but that's how many knots we're going. And on the J3, yeah, we can grab a little bit more wind that way. Yeah, look at that. So now I went from 3 knots to 4 knots, and probably could adjust the main as well. So looking at the main, it seems to be doing well, but let's give the main a little bit more sheet. And like I said, a lot of times you can move the main quite a bit and it catches so much wind. I think I'm looking at the top sail to make sure that's still good. There we go. We got it up, tweaking it almost up to 5 knots. But there we are. And we have another lovely day. I didn't really do much other than changing the clock for the local time being in the morning for me to set sail on July 7th, even though right now it's December, in real time. But my Hawaii adventure started in July 4th or something. And I spent a few nights, so now I'm in July 7th, and I want to keep it that way. And I didn't but today I didn't make any adjustments to the weather or the wind. This is actual wind and weather in Hawaii right now. And in fact, I didn't make any adjustments to the sky either, so it's pretty clear weather. And too, the other thing I noticed, once we get close enough to shore, within, I don't know if it's 10 nautical miles, but it seems like when I was 10 nautical miles out, I didn't see so many birds, but now as you get closer, the simulator gives you a lot more birds flying around when you get to 5 nautical miles or closer. That's my perspective. I don't know. That's my perception. If that's really truly what's going on, but it seems that way. Still, a lot of sailing today, and still hadn't seen much in the way of any mammals, any porpoise, or anything like that. So, I've seen them before. I expect to see them again. I like the idea that they're rare. I was thinking this summer when I was in the Florida Keys, we were out, and I was just happened to think, we hadn't seen any porpoise, because a lot of times you go out when they'll come along and school along in the bow of the boat and play with the boat a little bit and then move on. And this year we didn't really come across them too much. And then we came inshore, and I was not scuba diving, but snorkeling in about 10, 15 feet of water on a beautiful reef. And I just was loving the reef so much. I didn't want to come up, but when eventually, when I got on the back of the boat, I just stepped up. I was still outside, but stepped up on the back step and looked off. And about 50 yards off to the back of the boat was a porpoise. Maybe a couple of them swimming. And I thought, well, if they come closer, I'm going to get back in the water, because I see porpoise all the time, but I had not come across them while it was in the water. And that was pretty close. And I know in Hawaii, anybody who's, and I've done a lot of snorkeling. I had a couple of weeks in Hawaii where I snorkeled a bit all over Oahu, Waikiki, the east shore, the north shore. I just snorkeled everywhere. And you run into a lot of stuff, and a lot of people in Hawaii, if you know where you're going, can go look at dolphins. But I didn't see any while I was in Hawaii. Lots of turtles, always see those. No problem seeing those for anybody in Hawaii. But anyway, it's a thrill, and maybe one day, maybe next year when I'm in the Keys of Florida, I'll get to swim with them. But hasn't happened yet. I've been close. I mean, I've been out in a kayak where a mama and a baby porpoise. And when I say baby, I mean it's not much bigger than I was going to say football, but I would say the baby was 3 or 4 foot in length. Very tiny, very tiny. It was so adorable, and stayed right there with the mother. And they came right up to the kayak, and that was quite something. I was with my daughter at the time, and that was about 10 years ago. But fun. And that's not too far. It's only a few miles from where I live at home. So my house is only 3 miles, a 4-mile drive to the intercoastal waterway, and so I can go out on the water, within moments. In my kayak within 20 minutes, I guess. By the time you drive and put it in and all of it. Anyway, I'm having a great time, and I think we'll cut it loose from here and come back when we get closer to shore. But before we go, let's take a look and see how our navigation's doing. Oh, I think it's just doing perfect. Once again, I want to end up here at this point. Actually, I think I was trying to navigate to here, but actually I want to get to these marker lights. And I think the way we're going now, with the center over ground and the heading and this vector here, we will actually, if we continue on this course, I think in another hour we'll be down here. But we'll find out. But that's how you look at things when you're for quick, easy navigation without getting too technical, I suppose. But and this tool here, if you didn't know, is a good tool to use. It does tell you where the cross is, the heading. It's not bearing, that's heading. So this would be 180 degrees directly south. This would be 90, So heading is really what you want to use anyway. And so if you don't know, a bearing is, this would be 0. The bearing would be 0. But my heading is 108. And then this would be a 90 degree bearing, and my heading is 197. There's ways you can do those calculations. It's easy math, but most people don't. Like me, I don't want, really too lazy to do that. Even though it's people who do it all the time, you can do it in your head quite easily. But the heading's what we need. The heading's what we set ourselves for. And it looks like this is going to be accounting without knowing the size of this vector. I think I got a pretty good shot of us getting right to where I want to go. So we'll find out. It'll be interesting to find out. But I think I'll say bye for now and come back and maybe come back. If I've ranted enough, maybe I'll do add this clip and another clip together, or maybe just come back and do this as a separate clip on how to do a heading. So until next time, or till we come back in an hour or two as we get closer to shore. See you then.